In 1932, an experiment quietly began in the United States. It was presented as medical care. It was funded by the government, and it was allowed to continue for 40 years. 600 men were selected from rural Alabama. Most of them were poor. Most of them trusted the system. None of them were told the truth. They were told they had something called bad blood, a vague term, a harmless-sounding diagnosis. They were promised free treatment, free meals, and help with burial costs. What they were not told was that hundreds of them had syphilis, a serious disease that slowly destroys the body. The real purpose of the study was not to cure anyone. It was to observe what happens when syphilis is left untreated, to document suffering, to take notes as bodies failed. For years, doctors examined the men, drew blood, and recorded symptoms. They gave placebos. They performed painful procedures. And they watched. In the 1940s, everything changed. Penicillin was discovered. It was proven to cure syphilis safely and effectively. Hospitals across the country began using it. But in Tuskegee, the cure was withheld. Doctors made a decision, not once but again and again. They chose to continue the experiment. The men were never offered treatment. They were actively prevented from receiving it elsewhere, even when some were drafted into the military. Officials intervened to block their access to penicillin. The study became more than negligence. It became deliberate deception. As years passed, the consequences spread. Men went blind. Men lost their sanity. Men died. Their wives were infected. Their children were born with congenital disease. And still, the study continued. Internal reports acknowledged the harm. Medical journals discussed the findings. The experiment was known within professional circles, but no one stopped it. Not when ethics standards changed. Not when human rights laws were introduced. Not when the world learned the horrors of unethical experiments elsewhere. It took a whistleblower in 1972 to finally expose the truth to the public. When the story broke, outrage followed. The experiment was shut down immediately. Lawsuits were filed. An apology was issued decades later. But for many, the damage was already irreversible. The Tuskegee experiment did more than harm its victims. It shattered trust. Trust in medicine. Trust in institutions. Trust in the idea that progress is always humane. It stands as a reminder that science without ethics can become cruelty with paperwork, and that some of history's darkest chapters didn't happen in secret laboratories, they happened in plain sight.